Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Wouldn't you know it, it's come to this. Whatever YouTuber eventually falls back to a hidden gems on the eShop video. Yes, we are going to do a hidden gems video. I've got 5 games for you that I think you should definitely check out. We're going to jump into what I'm going to call like a little micro tour of each game to give you a little bit of an idea and a visual representation of why you should pick it up. So let's go ahead and jump right into the first game. All right, so first of all, we're going to have Terror of Hemasaurus. As you're going to see in just a moment, Terror of Hemasaurus is very much a Rampage clone, which is honestly an awesome thing. When I was taking a look at this game, I went ahead and did a Google search for Rampage clones. Apparently, nobody makes Rampage clones, so this developer definitely saw a golden opportunity, and this is a really solid throwback. Okay, so Terror of Hemasaurus has a couple of options. We are going to go ahead and choose our monster. There are multiple different choices. Really, the main difference is going to be their final special move that they can pull off. I really enjoy the Salamandra, so we're going to choose that. You got the arcade story mode, which will take you level by level. Has a really strange story where basically you've been melted out of an iceberg because of global warming, and there's this whole cult. It's the cult of the lizard, and they're all worshiping you, and they're trying to send you out throughout the cities to punish people for not taking global warming so seriously, I guess. But we're not going to go and jump into that because that's a lot more involved. We are going to jump into the Endless Destruction mode. This is the basic arcade mode, just like Rampage. You can jump in. We're going to start busting up some buildings and showing you what this game is all about. So let's jump right into it. Right away, you're going to see this has a really awesome style retro throwback. Very much looks like Rampage. Okay, so first of all, you've got a basic punch button. Now, even just standing here, I can start busting up these buildings. Now, if you've ever played Rampage, you would probably remember that you need to basically climb up the side of the buildings and take them down one hit at a time by basically knocking out chunks of the building. This is a little bit different. This is actually very physics-based. So every one of these buildings is actually made up of little blocks. So every little window you see is a little block. And basically, the way the gameplay works in this is you want to take out a weak point. So if we just keep hammering right here, eventually the whole building's going to come down. And what's great about that is it's going to land right into this other building. So you create these awesome sort of chain effects. Really cool. And of course, even better, you can kick stuff. So we can kick cars and other objects right into the buildings for even more damage. Now, importantly, you can press the A button at any time when you're above a person to go and munch down on them. Also, something you can do is, just like you can kick, you can press down, pick up a person. Now, this is important because you might want to be able to really aim when you're throwing someone. Now, if we throw someone into the chopper blades, see if we can do it. I just did it perfectly. It'll go right through the chopper blades. It'll get ripped up into guts, and that will slowly sort of chip away at the chopper's health. Of course, we can also just punch the chopper like so, if it gets low enough. Now, as you can see up on the top hand left, you have your life bar. You also have an energy bar. Now, the energy bar is what is powering up your special move. You get that basically from eating people and just sort of slowly powering up. Salamandra has a fire breath move, which is why I chose it, because it's about one of my favorites, and you can, as you can see, you can direct it. I'm pointing it up, pointing it to the right and left. Very, very useful. Now, as I'm talking, I'm going to need to eat a lot of guys, because you definitely need to keep eating guys if you're not paying attention and getting hit a lot. Now, something I really love to do is, instead of full-on mashing a building, take out a little bit of the structure, and then I climb to the top. I jump up, press down an A, and you create a butt stomp that basically lets out a sort of seismic blast. Do it again, and see, it brings down the whole building. Really cool physics-based system, unlike the original Rampage. Now, I love the original Rampage. Very straightforward. I enjoy that sort of straightforward arcade appeal it had. This still has what I would say is a fairly straightforward arcade appeal, but again, I think that physics-based system adds a lot more strategy to how you take down these buildings. Now, of course, we're in one of the lowest level difficulty areas right now. This is one of the first levels. And as you start unlocking areas, you will start seeing much more different weapons coming at you. You'll see tanks. You'll see higher-ranking soldiers with better guns, like machine guns. So it does get harder and harder. And the basic way you get through any level, though, is to destroy enough percentage of it to be able to exit the stage. And I believe we've hit there. I think 80% was what we needed. As you can see, stage complete. Only took us about 3 minutes. Again, that's the very first stage in the endless mode. I can tell you in the story mode, it definitely ramps up in difficulty. I believe you get 2 lives in this normal mode, so if you get killed once, you can come back. But it's pretty darn simple. I absolutely wholeheartedly recommend it to Rampage fans. For me, this was such an amazing throwback, and I've eaten up every bit of it. I've been playing it to death, and I absolutely adore it. One little note of caution though, I will tell you that the story mode, for whatever reason, they actually include a fair amount of salty language and swearing. Now, it's written text, so if you have really little ones who can't, you know, read anything, it's not going to be an issue. But if you have slightly older kids, it might make for some slightly awkward moments. But this Endless Destruction mode has none of that text, so you don't have to worry about that if you jump into this one. And right now you can pick up Terror of Hemasaurus for only 15 bucks on the eShop. I think it's a really, really solid price. You get a shocking amount of game with that story mode and the Endless Destruction mode. So let's go ahead and we're going to jump in right away to the next choice. So moving on, we have moved into a game called Maximus 2. This is an old school, traditional style beat 'em up, but a little bit more on the side of what Castle Crashers feels like. Now I'm going to jump right into the story so we can take a quick look at it. Now, I've already been playing for a while, so I do have a leveled up character. And yes, it does have RPG elements where you're leveling up your character, getting new moves, and then, of course, upgrading its basic stats, like its magic ability, its projectile ability, and its strength. All that kind of good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and just choose the dwarf that I have been using. Now, right here, you can see my screen. In addition to the RPG elements, there are weapons you can pick up from local shopkeepers. Right now, I have this axe and some basic armor equipped. If we tab on over, you can see the stat screen. I've got attack, health, magic, and luck. And then I also have different ways after leveling up that I can add new abilities. In fact, I didn't even know. I've got one I can pick right now, so I'm going to go ahead and grab one. I can either choose a stronger roll attack or a stronger, longer reaching jump attack. I think I'm going to go for that stronger reaching jump attack. So let's go ahead and jump real quick into some gameplay. Now, the one thing about this game that I will say, this is a port of a mobile game. Now, you can tell right away because you don't attack by tapping the button. Now, you can tap it, but really, you just have to hold it down. And that's obviously been brought over from being a mobile game, because on a mobile screen, you probably don't want to be constantly tapping the screen. Now, I partially chose this so you could see the shopkeep, but I've already picked up the items that were right here. But there are some more items that we could be picking up. And I absolutely love this shopkeeper because I can't figure out what's going on with his mouth. It looks like some kind of weird duck flap or something, but it looks goofy. But I just love the art style of this game. It definitely has a sort of flash animation, Castle Crashers kind of vibe to it. Let's go ahead and move on over. And one thing that really excites me about this game, as you can see right now, I'm on a dragon. Yes, it brought back those Golden Axe style rides, those mounts you can get on, which adds a ton of fun. Now, the mounts can also spit out different special abilities, just like they could in Golden Axe. The game has a really beautiful, vivid art style. Now, combat is pretty varied. There is quite a bit of, again, abilities to unlock. But what's nice is that most of what you do is simply holding down the attack and holding a different direction to do a different ability. So I'm going to go up and hit attack, and I'll press down while doing it. So I grabbed him and started hitting him in the head. I'm not doing very well because trying to talk at the same time is difficult. I'm going to go ahead and jump back into an earlier area that feels a little more casual so I can actually kind of show you some of these moves off. Okay, so I'm hitting and I'm pressing up, so I do that little headbutt move. Now, if I hold down the attack button and press the other direction, I do a little flip over my shoulder. There's my reaching forward move. Again, it's pretty typical beat 'em up stuff. Nice little skill tree upgrades, though. I just can't get over, though, the fact that this is only $5. There are some absolute crap games on the eShop for only $5. This is incredibly solid. Now, I know if you pick it up on mobile, I think technically it's free, but you have advertisements. I think you have a way more limited continue system. So here, you get rid of all those ads, and I think for $5 for this nice Switch port, I think that's extremely reasonable. So if you're looking for another retro-style beat-em-up throwback, especially if you enjoyed Golden Axe, you would definitely want to pick up Maximus 2. All right, let's go ahead, and we are going to jump into our next choice. All right, moving on, we're going to take a look at Shieldmaiden Remix Edition. This is a really awesome retro throwback. Definitely reminds me of, is it Mega Man Zero, I think is the one where it's very melee-focused. But let's go ahead and jump in real quick, and I'll show you what it's all about. Okay, so this is our main character. She has a main normal slashing move, and what she's using is, of course, the shield that's talked about in the title, Shieldmaiden. You can throw the shield, you can hold the shield out, And this is very important as the shield charges up by absorbing enemy attacks. And when you have absorbed enough enemy attacks, you can do her main special move. She also has a nice little dash ability that you're going to be using a lot for the platforming challenges. And we're going to go and jump into a level so you can see how all of this comes together. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and jump into necessarily the story of what's going on. The basic gist is that there was this apocalyptic event, took over the city. There's all kinds of robots that went rogue, and you are going back into the city through this subway station, and you're trying to locate your sister and get her out. There's definitely a good amount of dialogue that goes along the way to kind of flesh out the story. I really actually enjoyed it so far, but we won't get bogged down for this little tour with it. Every level will start with you coming out of the subway station, and we'll take on some basic baddies. Like I said, there is that basic slash. We can also throw our shield. And it can be thrown in many directions. And that shield ability also, we can also do like a down shield, which you're going to use sometimes to bounce over things. Your shield is definitely a sort of jack of all trades sort of device. Let's go and see if we can power up the shield so I can show you some of those special abilities. Now right here, you're going to see a moment where we have to use that shield bounce I was just talking about. So we're going to have to jump, press down with the shield to move over. And as you can see, that also built up my special meter, because it is absorbing hits. So up in the left-hand corner, you can see it get filled up, and the X button will release it, and that's like a big shock blast. Basically kills everything around you. Very, very useful. However, all of that blocking with the shield does come on a stamina meter, so you can't just non-stop block. But the game has all kinds of nice platforming challenges. You're going to be using that dashing ability quite a lot. As you can see right here, we got to be able to race up. Now you'll see these switches. You got to activate them a lot of times to open these doors, and we're moving on. So again, if you're really into Mega Man Zero, you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that's the series of Mega Man games that were more melee focused. Then you're going to absolutely adore Shieldmaiden. I really had a good time with it, and I'm not even that big of a Mega Man fan, but I've been devouring these levels, just having a great time. I love throwing the shield, Captain America style. I love the way you absorb the attacks. I think that is a really fun mechanic to use over and over again. And I'm going to die here. And I just really love the shield mechanic of taking in the attacks and then building up that special meter. It really just doesn't ever get old. I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but it's very simple, straightforward. If you like Mega Man Zero, you're definitely going to enjoy Shieldmaiden. So go ahead and check out Shieldmaiden. It's only $12.99 on the eShop. I think that's a pretty reasonable price. So far, it seems like a pretty darn good action-adventure retro throwback. Now, I didn't intend this, but I'm starting to notice a trend with all my picks. Most of these are really solid retro-style throwbacks, and this one is definitely no exception. This has been a critical darling this last month. This is Vengeful Guardian. We're going to take a real quick look at one level or two levels in it and show you what I think of it. Now, if you love the old ninja-style games from back in the mid to early 90s, you're going to absolutely eat this one up, especially games like Hagane. This is a great throwback to those style of titles. Now, once you beat the first level, it opens up sort of Mega Man style where you can choose from any of the levels. But I want to go ahead and show you that first level a little bit. It's probably the easiest one to kind of just show you the mechanics during. Now, there is incentive to come back to these older levels. There's different modules you can pick up that will make it easier to come back and find collectibles. So right now I have the detective module on. As you can see, we have a basic sort of sword slash. There's our jump. We have this sort of like energy spear, but that is actually a sub weapon that you can exchange out with other different sub weapons. And as you can see, if I pull down ZL, that is where that sub-weapon is located, and there are different ones that you can unlock. Right now, I have that and the Photon Dash. But yeah, real stuff. We're going to be slashing up enemies. Now, I'm probably going to be playing pretty poorly, again, from talking and trying to explain it all at the same time. But I can tell you that I think that the difficulty is very reasonable in this game. I really had no problem with the first 2 or 3 levels that I made my way through that I chose. And again, you're choosing them out of order, so it doesn't seem like that the difficulty spikes are probably going to happen too early on. But this game definitely oozes the 80s and 90s throwback style. Okay, I'll go ahead and show you this first mid-boss, and then after this, we're going to jump out. I'll show you just a little snippet of another level. Now, spoiler alert, this first mid-boss is super easy. You literally just need to get it to shoot at this door to release you. And then you take out the baddie and you keep moving on. All right, let's jump out real quick and I will show you one other quick level. Now I'm choosing this level because it has a really cool sort of retro style racing action. I think you're going to really dig it. Now the attack button instead now is all going to be a machine gun fire. Gives you some danger indicators, things coming up from the behind you, in front of you. But it's absolutely delightful in its presentation. It has a really cool sort of Mode 7 sort of SNES look to this action. I'm really digging this game. I think you should definitely consider picking up Vengeful Guardian. So far, it almost seems like a flawless style throwback. You know, it really is deserving of all the critical accolades it's been getting. And once again, I'm playing really poorly while trying to talk. So yeah, once again, Vengeful Guardian, Moonrider, $16.99. A little more on the pricey side, but I can tell you that right now that I think this game is very solid. It definitely probably deserves that price. The Arcade Crew, the publisher, they are really just pushing out like non-stop bangers recently. They, of course, are the publishers of Infernax. They also did Young Souls. So far, I'm digging everything they've put out. So I think that their pedigree is definitely showing, and I think that it is a really solid choice if you like these retro-style throwbacks. Now, this final one, I'm super excited to talk to you about. This is the Punchuin. I think I'm pronouncing it right, but I'm so excited because I haven't seen anybody else talking about this game. I'm not going to tell you the genre just yet because it's a cool little mix, and you'll see as we jump in. Go and choose the adventure mode. This is our protagonist. This is the Punchuin. As you see, I move around, and we're going to go and jump down in here. Now, we got a sort of Super Mario style map, but I want to jump real quick. Now, this is our protagonist. This is the Punchuin. He can jump, and he can box with his boxing glove, as you can see. I've got different power-ups at the top, bombs. What you're seeing right now is where I'm going to the punch shop. This, you can buy the upgrades. You can buy more bombs, which are going to help you in your adventure. And those bombs are very important sometimes because you can get really stuck in some tough places. You also have a little ground pound that I've unlocked recently. Now, what you're thinking is, this looks like a platformer, right? Well, no, this is not really a platformer. I'm going to jump into an early stage so we can keep it nice and casual and easy so you can see what this actually is. Believe it or not, this is a puzzle game. Now, I've seen puzzle games where you get to play as a character, but almost every time I've ever done one, really, it's just an over-glorified cursor that you move around. But here, it really is a little platforming character with a full moveset. Now, again, the boxing is what you're using. You're using that to break open the ice blocks to get them out of the way, and you're mashing the color blocks to try to get 3 in a row in different ways. Now, if you get a block like this, you can bop it out of the side. I can do it again. Watch, we'll get this red block out of the way, and there's 3 in a row. And this game can get super hectic. Again, those bombs are going to help you when you get stuck with a lot of ice blocks that you haven't been keeping up with, and then they're getting all over the place and you got to clear them out quick. Just a super awesome little puzzle game. Now, this is a pretty early level, so not really too hard, but there are some absolutely crazy levels later on that mix up the mechanics, give you new kinds of blocks, all kinds of new challenges. Of course, you're collecting coins. The coins are important. That is how you're going to go back to that upgrade shop and either get more bombs, which again, you're definitely going to need, or you can get permanent upgrades. Now, this actually comes from Shieldmaiden. Shieldmaiden are the developers who made The Tourist. They made Fast RMX, or Fast Remix, you might know it as. Really shocking that they would go and then make us this 2D platformer puzzle game. It's very unlike anything they've ever done before, but shockingly fun. But as you can see, you're going to make your way down the mountain. I've made my way pretty darn far. All kinds of levels. There are fun little bonus levels. Here's Ross's Punch Ball. There is actually an area where you can enter into a tournament to fight. So we do have these different sort of mini games. I'll go and show you this one real quick. Go and play it. You got to pay coins for it, and we're going to play some basketball real quick. Pretty simple stuff. But it's nice to see that they built these platforming mechanics, and they decided to use them for more than just putting him into these basic little puzzle levels. There's also some actual like bonus boss stages, which I have not been able to compete in yet because I have not gotten the prerequisite requirements to enter them, but those appear like they're actual boss battles in an arena. So it seems like we're getting a lot of good variety with this game. As you can see, I'm really bad at this basketball game. I tried it before and I could not really quite figure out the physics of the basketballs, but it's just one of many mini games that you'll be able to try out in the Punchuin. But the Punchuin, it is a big game with lots of levels. Here's a later level real quick. We're not going to play much of it. I just wanted you to see how it can change up. Of course, we got these ice blocks. Here is a block that can actually change color if I hit it. So as you can see, they start changing things up pretty darn quick to make things a little more difficult. And it's been a while since I played, and I can tell that I'm already pretty rough. Right here is a quick power-up. This is a lightning bolt. If I hit it up or down, it will take out everything in that line. So if I hit it that way, it takes out that block. Those are very, very useful. So the Punchuin is currently $14.99. I've gotten a pretty good solid number of hours out of this game, and I haven't finished it yet, so I think the price seems pretty darn fair. Definitely, if you like puzzle games and platformers, this is sort of a match made in heaven. I think it would definitely be something you would dig a lot. All right, all you tricksters, I really hope you enjoyed these 5 hidden gem picks. I really think all of these games are absolutely worth the money. If this content has been helpful to you, please consider subscribing. It is very helpful, especially to a small channel like mine. Make sure to leave a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments below what you think of these choices. So until next time, tricksters, I hope you have great gaming. Bye-bye.